Hey everybody, welcome back to Space Engineers 2, and here we have an MR1 Dwarf. I'll go ahead and put credit on screen and a link in the description to where you can get this on the Steam Workshop. But this is a interesting looking vessel. I really like unique designs like this because you don't see a ton of ships that get super far outside the norm. And I would argue this is pretty far outside the norm. It almost looks like a bug or a bee or a beetle type of thing. So yeah, this is a pretty interesting look to the ship. But without further ado, let's go ahead and check out the interior, if I can find a door. Here it is. The ship does have its own gravity, so that's good. Looks like this is some kind of airlock. Indeed. Alright. So ship looks like it has a pretty functional interior. Large open space. It's got conveyors, meaning... so something that will probably happen in the future, and this happened with Space Engineers 1, it happens with a lot of games that release in some sort of early access or something. As the game gets updated, a lot of these ships that are currently working on the Steam Workshop will cease functioning because they weren't designed with future updates in mind. But as you're seeing now, a lot of these ships are getting designed with conveyors that are attaching things like this cargo container above us, with the assembler being right next to this refinery, and there should be a reactor somewhere else that's also connected through to all these things. Those are going to allow future editions of this ship to remain functioning as the game gets updated. But yeah, let's continue our... Oh, that's kind of cool. Okay. So that's another cool thing about Space Engineers. If you have gravity on a ship, like for example, I'll cut my jetpack off now. If you're in the area of the influence of the ship, and so this is probably the extent of that gravity generator right here, because if I turn my jetpack off, I no longer fall. But once I get closer to the ship and I'm within the area of influence of that gravity generator, I turn my jetpack off, then I fall. And then I will continue to fall in that one direction because we're in space until I turn my jetpack back on. So, to those who have played Space Engineers 1 or Space Engineers 2, that's not a new concept, but to people who may be tuning in for the first time, just a good piece of information to know. This looks like it's some kind of lounge here. That's pretty cool. I like livable spaces on ships like this, where it makes it feel like it's something that you'd actually live in or spend time in. So they've used the shower block, the toilet block, and the sink block. These are all recent additions to the game. None of them are functional. It would be kind of cool if you could click a button and sit on the toilet, or maybe click a button and stand inside the shower. It'd be a little bit comedic to be standing inside the shower in your full suit, but you know, that's a fun opportunity for the devs. I don't know. Cool. Here we have beds. Again, I think it'd be really cool if we could hit F on these and then lay down in it and then get a view of the ship, because there's other games where you can lay down on a bed and essentially see the entirety of the exterior of the ship, like a spectator. So once multiplayer becomes a thing in the future, that might be a fun little roleplay thing. Looks like this is the bowels of the ship back here. So this is what I was referring to earlier when I was saying that what you're going to start seeing are ships on the workshop that are designed with all these interior spaces and everything's connected using various blocks. That is so that in the future, none of this is functional right now, but hopefully it will gain functionality in the future, and then these ships won't require as much updating. So you can either, if you're a shipbuilder, you can either update your ships over time or design them in a way that they're easy to upgrade, or you're going to be in for a rough time a year or two from now when a bunch of updates are made and then none of your ships work. And that's kind of what happened with Space Engineers 1. If you go to the workshop for Space Engineers 1, there are so many really cool ships. Oh no. Really cool ships that were very well designed for their time, but as the game got updated, the ship never got updated. So as a result, those ships are no longer functioning. Cool, cool, cool. Okay, so here's another entrance. Alright, I think we've seen pretty much everything on the interior of the ship. Let's go ahead and fly it, see how it handles, and then we'll crash it. Wow, super maneuverable for its size. And quite fast. Well, I mean, as fast as it's going to be with these types of thrusters. So my understanding is these are atmospheric thrusters, while the blue ones are ion thrusters, which are made for space. So these can still work in space, but they're designed for atmospheres on planets. So, which, again, planets don't exist yet in Space Engineers 2. You'll see some things on YouTube where people have mods, or they've been able to get into the dev commands or something and spawn whatever's currently available, but to the base game and to the layman, they're not available in the game yet. Alright, without further ado, let's go ahead and crash it. I take my comment earlier about this being fast. It's not that fast. There we go. Okay. Might not be that fast, but it sure packs a punch. Solid stuff. All right, well, that was a pretty satisfying crash, I would say. All right, y'all. Well, until next time.